Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco 2. Today we start Season 17. Season 17, it's been so long now in this series, and our second season in the Premier League, which is really exciting. We survived last season. It was a bit of a scare, but we survived last season, and what was quite an incredible last episode, I've got to say. You guys seem to really enjoy it, so thank you very much for all the positive comments on that. Obviously, I recorded the video last night, and then basically uploaded it, and then had to play into the night, basically, to get all this ready so I could actually record for you when I got back from work today on Tuesday. So I'm quite tired today because of it, but I got through all of pre-season, and we're at the first day of the season. We're going to be playing Stoke City, which is quite a nice fixture to start the season off. Last season, we had a really difficult start to the season. This time, Stoke, Leicester, West Ham, a slightly easier fixture list than at least we started with last season. So hopefully we'll get a win today in today's first game. Of course, though, it wouldn't be summer without a transfer window, and we've made quite a few signings, I think. I think last time we got a bit sidetracked with all the Brazilians, and perhaps that's why we didn't do quite as well. Although we did sign Jose Pedro, who turned out to be a lifesaver for us, really, I suppose. So we'll go through the transfers then. Not many outs at all, actually. If we look at transfer history, a couple of outs, but only players that were never going to start for us. Fairweather, our old goalkeeper, he's gone to Chesterfield. Sorinola, or as I like to call him, Sorolina, he's gone to Barnsley for 73k. Latham's gone to Hull for 75k. Michael Thomas is out on loan again. No big deal, really. But we have managed to spend £51 million on players, which is pretty exciting. The first one, of course, you'll be very pleased to see him here, is Michael Pomeroy. Now, I did go in and bid money for him. We could have tried to get him on a free transfer, but I just didn't trust that Chelsea weren't going to offer him a new contract. So for £2.9 million, which is an absolute steal, Michael Pomeroy joins Lincoln United on a full-time, permanent basis after his 21 goals for us in the Championship, his 12 goals for us in the league last season in the Premier League, and of course, we've now got him apparently twice here for some reason. I don't know why. It shouldn't be once. But hopefully he'll get at least 20 goals in the league this season. Well, at least 15 goals in the league. I'd like to see him get at least 15. That would be pretty good. Next up, we made our biggest signing of the summer for £15.5 million. I think, actually, that's the biggest transfer we've actually paid. Yeah, it must be the biggest. Yeah, it's the biggest one we've ever spent money-wise. And it's a guy who I just can't pronounce. Mirza Oglet. Let's see if I can say it a bit bigger. Mirza Oglekivac. Mirza. I think we're just going to go straight in there and just call him Mirza, because that sounds a lot easier than whatever his surname is. He's a right back, and we needed a right back. 4-star, it was 4-star when he joined the club. It's gone down to 3.5-star now, but I suppose that just sort of highlights the quality we brought in elsewhere in the pitch and things like that. But he signs from Borussia Dortmund. He's on a lot of money per week, £66,000. I mean, to be fair, Pomeroy's on 50k per week. He wanted 70k per week when he first entered contract terms with us. We said no, just 50k will do. This guy's on 66, but he is very good. 52 caps for Bosnia at the age of 24 years old is pretty decent. Hasn't really played any games at Borussia Dortmund for whatever reason. They bought him for £29 million from Juventus after he started off at Sarajevo. I think he's going to be a quality signing for us. He's the best left back, or right back, sorry, that we've got by a long shot. Greg Smith is not going to be playing this season. He's our backup. He's got a lot of potential as well. I think he's going to be a great player, Mirza. I think he is going to be one of the signings of the season. And I also think this guy he's also got one of the best names in the world. Signing for £8 million from Juventus is Randy de Leeuw. I mean, I presume it's Leeuw, but I'm going to call him that anyway. But again, another 3.5-star quality player with 4-star potential. He is a centre-back that we needed a bit more centre-back, I've got to say. We needed someone else there, and he comes in looking pretty decent. Played at Juventus for quite a while, making appearances for them, doing quite well. Was at final before that, but I think he's going to really shine for us this season. He's got some great average ratings as well over the past few seasons. So if he can carry on with that, beautiful. Patrick comes in from Atletico Mineiro for £8.75 million, which was his minimum fee release clause. He is a 4-star centre midfielder, a deep line playmaker. We needed someone in there, and he's coming in with his 12 under 20 caps for Brazil. Hopefully he'll break into the Brazilian first team at some point soon. But he comes in looking pretty good, very, very good in the centre of midfield. Has played for Botafogo and Atletico Mineiro, playing very well, played over 170 games for all these clubs and things like that. So that's quite exciting. So Patrick, great signing. He's going to be complimented. Now, I don't. Oh, which one was? I can't remember now. I should remember this. It was only last night. Ryan Price, he's the midfielder. He is the midfielder. Good. Ryan Price in midfield, centre midfielder. He'll be up there with Patrick, trying to pull the strings in the midfield, basically. So he looks like a decent player. Coming in from Liverpool, but had been on loan at Burnley last season, where he played relatively well, got 14 assists, which is really, really good. So I'm very pleased with that, but has played in the Premier League and the Championship. Got experience. He's here on a free transfer after he was let go by Liverpool. Great deal for us, definitely. And also on a free transfer is Dylan Telfer, who's a centre defender. His attributes are pretty decent, but his physicals, they're the ones that I love the most at centre back. So he's going to be really good. Again, he's been on loan at different places. Was at Crystal Palace last season in the Championship. They got promoted. So, no, they didn't get promoted. Ignore that. They didn't get promoted, but they did quite well. Crystal Palace last season. Has been on loan in the Premier League as well at Manchester United. Played one or two games for them as well. Is going to be a pretty decent player, Dylan Telfer. Then we've also got Howard Prosser coming in for £6.5 million. Another centre midfielder. We have strengthened the centre midfield. We've got three, if you include Kyle Tyrode-Fenney, who is not at the club anymore. Tyrode-Fenney's not there anymore. We actually got rid of him. So we're still lacking a little bit in centre midfield, but at least we have now got three really quality centre midfielders rather than three passable midfielders. But this guy looks pretty good, Howard Prosser. I'm quite pleased with him. Again, he's been on loan. Was at Crystal Palace last season as well, with 16 assists and 8 goals from centre midfield. I mean, what more can you want? And Liverpool and Wolves, were happy to let him go for £6.5 million. He was valued at like 13, but they let him go for 6.5. I was going to take that. That's absolutely fine. You will remember as well, we came very close to signing a guy from Swansea. You saw him at the end of last episode. He had a cheap minimum fee release clause of £6 million. We triggered that, but he wanted 80, 90k per week, and I just wasn't prepared to pay that. He wouldn't budge on it either, so that's why we missed out on him. But he's another player that I was pretty certain I was going to sign. Either way, Howard Prosser comes in and looks very, very good. And the final player we have brought in is a CDM, finally a replacement to Donker. It's the Italian Daniel Venturelli. He's Italian, not Argentinian, but has played in Argentina for the past few seasons with Newell's Old Boys. So played relatively well for them, but is going to be a quality, I think, a really quality CDM. Has already got caps for the under-23s. He's got 5-star potential as well. This is probably the signing I am most excited about, just because it's very hard to find really solid CDMs. And this guy is one of them. So I'm very excited to announce Venturelli. I can say that a bit easier than Merzers. I can say Venturelli, I reckon. We'll try and stick with that. But yeah, £51 million spent. They are the players. I think we've got a pretty decent lineup. Now, before we jump into today's game against Stoke, I just want to talk about this game against Toulouse. Turiak's testimonial. Now, I didn't play any friendlies myself because I didn't have much time to. My assistant manager did all these friendlies, and we've managed to win them all with a slight tactical change that we'll talk about. So I think the tactical change has worked quite well, but we've won decent games against Dresden, Lyonnais, Partizan, PSV as well. Like some decent games there, to be fair, that we've managed to win with this new tweaked formation. So I'm quite happy with it. But this Toulouse game was Turiak's testimonial. Now, Turiak has been at the club for 12 seasons. He actually wanted to move this summer. We tried to sell him, but he didn't go. I was very concerned for a while that he would have been sold, and then we would have had to play his testimonial without him at the club. However, I don't think that would have happened. I wish I had managed this, and I wish I'd shown it to you on camera, because you can see here, Danny Douglas-Hurst scores the goals. And I was like, what? Danny Douglas-Hurst scoring the goals? What's going on here? The testimonial team, like most of half the players in the starting lineup, they're all players of ours. So we've got Ron Odling. I don't know why Rod Odling's come here, because he was never really a big part of the squad at all. But apparently Rod Odling turned up for Turek's testimonial. But not just him. Danny Douglas-Hurst turned up and scored 2 goals. Tyler Monk turned up and scored, didn't score a goal actually at all, did he? But he's recently played for Coventry in the Championship. It has been let go. Maybe we try and offer him a deal, because I'd hate to see Tyler Monk not be being paid to play football. Danny Douglas-Hurst, of course, was there as well. He currently plays for Grimsby Town. I think we sold him to Grimsby. No, we sold him to Boston. They went to Grimsby on a free transfer, but he's doing very well for himself in the Vanarama National League. But most importantly, the man that I miss him every single day, basically. But Mark Mason was at this testimonial game. Did actually sign for Sydney FC in the end. We did mention he was signing for Sydney FC. Did sign for them. Has had a pretty decent career whilst he's been there. 11 goals, 6 goals. Not the best, really, if we're being honest with ourselves there. But he's playing for Sydney. Quite the career change from the Championship. But he's gone to the Hyundai A-League. He's doing well for himself, and he came back for the testimonial, which was against Toulouse. And again, I'm not quite sure why Toulouse were chosen for this, because I don't think Turak's got any affinity for Toulouse. He doesn't. But the best thing about Turak is that he started with us in the Vanarama National North and has actually played an integral part every single season apart from perhaps our promotion championship season and last season in the Premier League, he's played an integral part of every season apart from those two. And even then, he still played his part. It just shows how good of a player. I mean, he's not any good anymore. He shouldn't be playing a part at all. But it just shows how good of a player he really has been for us. Turiak, we salute you. Either way, that's just something I wanted to show you as well. So we've gone over the new... So we've gone over new transfers, testimonial, tactics. That's what we need to talk about next. So this is also ties in with the lineup we're playing today. So essentially, we've not really changed shape at all. We're sticking with the 4-3-3. That's what we'll call it, the 4-3-3. However, we have changed our philosophy. So it used to be control possession. We had the control possession for that formation and the 4-4-2, and it worked well. We had a lot of possession. We never won games there, did we? We didn't win any games last season. So I thought maybe it's just worth tweaking things. We've got the players to make this formation work. That's, we can't really switch too much from that because we can't be signing players in different positions to have a completely different formation. But that's going to be a slow transition. We have got the players to make this formation work. Let's try a different style. And we've gone for the Gegenpress. And as you saw in the pre-season results, it's gone quite well so far. So despite only Pomeroy being on full green, and actually he wants to be a pressing forward really in a Gegenpress rather than advanced forward, and actually we might change him to that just for this game to see what it's like on attack. But no one is full green, but it's worked relatively well in pre-season, so fingers crossed it does work. We'll see what happens out there. But Jose Pedro is in goal. We've got Garana still, but we've got Delu and Telfer as our new back line. Theo Tavernier will come in. He'll play his part at some point across the season, but won't be really featuring. I think these two are better than Theo Tavernier. Mirza on the right side of the pitch, of course. Brelinger as well. Of course, forgot about Brelinger. Brelinger is he's apparently gone down in ratings a bit over summer, apparently, which is a bit of a shame. He's not going to be our first choice anymore, but he's still got an awful lot of potential, so he's still going to be a big part of the squad. He's only 20 years old, remember, Brelinger. We signed him at 19 years old to be our first choice centre-back. That was probably a bit on the poor side from my decision-making, but he's going to play a big part still for us, Jefferson Brelinger. The new guy, Venturelli, in that CDM position with Prosser and Patrick just ahead of him. Christensen and Abel retain their positions from last season, and Michael Pomeroy leads the line for us today. If it doesn't work, then you can blame no one being green. But if it does work, I'm a genius. Right then, kickoff is upon us now for the first game of the season, a new season for us. Hopefully, we're going to have a better season. Now, my aim is to be at least 15th, but as long as 45 points is what I want, to be fair. 45 points. If we can improve by, like 13 points from last season, that's quite good for us. I want to get at least 45 points this season. So I think we can get off to a good start today against Stoke. Stoke, not the best team in the Premier League by a long shot. I think they got promoted last season. I'll double check this in a second. I don't remember them being... I think they did get promoted last season. So they're one of the new sides, basically. So they're wanting to test themselves today against us. But we need to assert ourselves as being a very good Premier League side that can go to teams and beat them away from home. As we're going to try and do now, as Christensen comes forward into Prosser, and Howard Prosser, the new man, gets a goal on his full debut from the club, assisted by Thomas Christensen, putting it into the bottom corner. And temporarily, we'll look at the table, because we could actually be in the Champions League places temporarily, which would be very exciting. But a great little play there, to be fair. Christensen slots it into Prosser. First time shot on his left foot, bottom corner. You can't ask much more than that, can you? Oh no, Stoke were in the Premier League last season. They finished 9th. No, 14th. 14th. I don't know what I'm thinking about then, but they were in the Premier League. Stoke looking to build from the back then. They want to try and grab a goal back now, as we're only 5th in the table, unfortunately. We're not quite in the Champions League places yet. But if we grab another goal before they grab one, if we win by 2 goals, we temporarily will go into the Champions League places. The ball forward isn't great, but Patrick picks it up, plays it into Abel, who can put the ball forward to Michael Pomeroy, who hits the post, nearly wins the ball back a second time round. But this is a great start to the game for us. This opening 20 minutes is possibly the best we've played in the Premier League. I'm not going to lie to you, it actually could be. We do have a corner now. Prosser, the goal scorer, puts it into Christensen. They swap roles. We go 3rd in the table on the first day of the season. Look, imagine if this was the top 4 coming into the season. Brighton, Derby, Lincoln United and Tottenham Hotspur. If only this will stay for the rest of the season, but no one challenging Christensen there for the header in the area. And we've gone 2-0 up. This is a better start to the season than I could have ever hoped for. I'm so stoked. I'm here all day, lads. I'm here all day for the jokes. We are approaching half-time, though, and Gegenpress. This is the new thing. This is the new thing for us now, Gegenpress, because clearly we should have been doing this last season. So I do have a few plans this season. Obviously, first and foremost, we want to establish ourselves as a Premier League side. But second of all, I want to try and start to build up a bit of a youth structure. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we're really going to be able to generate our own regen, just because we have rubbish youth facilities and not much money in place to help with youth recruitment and things like that. We're just not very good at that. The board don't like to put money into it, sort of thing. So my plan is to just be literally spending a lot of time this season scouting out young British players, young Scottish players, things like that, maybe even some young great European players that we can maybe get work permits for, but that's very difficult, the work permit situation. As a cross comes in, Christensen looking for his second goal, puts it wide of the mark, unfortunately. But as I was saying, predominantly British youngsters to come through, so we don't have to get work permits for them. But I'm scouting out anyone between the age of 16 to 21 at the moment who's interested in joining the club, and we'll try and sign all the players. At the moment, I've got the filter on, and they're searching for players in the last year of their contracts, and we can maybe try and sign a few of them, as we've just won a penalty. We have won a penalty. Fantastic stuff. If we score it, we're going to go top of the table. Who's taking it, by the way? I didn't change anything. Mirza, apparently. Why is the right back taking it? It doesn't really matter because he scored the goal anyway. And I think that is going to put us top of the table when all the scores update, because we've got, by virtue of the alphabet, we'll be ahead of Southampton, I think. Mirza just sends the keeper the wrong way completely there. Should have given it to Pomeroy, really. Why are we not ahead of Southampton? I think they're winning 4-1 maybe, which is why they're at top, because they've scored more goals than us maybe. So we have to grab a fourth one if we want to go top of the table, obviously. As I was saying, though, that's my plan. I want to sign a lot of youngsters this season to then send them out on loan, maybe generate a bit of profit from them, but ultimately to start to build a bit of a youth team for the future and things like that. That's kind of what I want to do. Perhaps it's a bit late now because it's not long until FM20 comes out now, and we probably don't have that many. We might get to 20 seasons, 21, 22 seasons, but we're not going to be going that much further, really, before FM20 starts to come out. We have to switch games. So really, it's a bit of a race against time if we actually want to try and win the Premier League sort of thing in this. I forgot to make subs as well because I'm busy talking to you. Doesn't matter, we won 3-0. It is a little bit of a race against time if we want to win the Premier League and get into the Champions League and maybe even win the Champions League. That's a race against time now because we've got FM20 not too far away now, only a couple of months or so. So a race against time, but I'm just happy to start building the squad up now, get a bit of a youth team going and try and generate a bit more profit that way. But what a start to the season. A 3-0 win over Stoke. The best game we've ever played is that, well, the best game I've ever experienced in this save is that 3-2 win over Man City that you weren't here for, which I'm still gutted about. But that is the best performance we have ever had in the Premier League, and you were here to see it. So that is absolutely fantastic. In the news articles, Prosser on form, 1 goal, 1 assist, 9 rating. We'll praise him for that performance. It's the number of chances he created was superb, brilliant stuff. Keep it up. And he makes his debut, apparently. Well done, lad. Fantastic. So an absolutely superb start to the season. I am buzzing for that one. We need to see who we're going to be playing next time around then. How many games in between here? I reckon we can go for an Arsenal and an Aston Villa. That could be quite interesting. Obviously, we played very well today against Stoke, and they did quite well last season. So we'll test ourselves against Arsenal and hopefully pick up a win against Aston Villa. That would be quite good as well. So join me next time on Thursday for those 2 games. That's going to be very exciting. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time for some more Lincoln Loco action.